Okay, good evening, YouTube. I thought I'd go live. We'll see if I actually publish this, but I just decided to pull some cards. That is messages from my guides, and since I asked for, for messages for me and the collective, I thought I'd share just in case it resonates with anybody else. So. Forgive my raspiness. I'm not sick. Not sick, just kind of sleep deprived for for reasons. So I'm actually away from home, staying with family, awaiting my grandmother's funeral on Thursday. So it is, I would say it's not a sad occasion. She was 93, and she had a very full life. Was living on her own until not too long ago. And then when you decide it's time for you to go, it happened pretty fast. So I'm just, I was just kind of meditating or trying to meditate. Okay, honestly, I was scrolling on Facebook, um, and decided I needed to put that away and do something actually productive. So I was like, well, I brought one deck with me, which is fine, right? We get all the messages we need, but this is my friend Cheryl Yambrook Rose, Art Through the Star Stream Oracle, the new deck, and it is gorgeous. She does all the artwork, herself, and these are from full-size paintings that she displays from time to time in Glastonbury, if you are ever in that area. So, okay, so what I asked for was, like I said, messages from my guides, and when I was tuning in, I said specific names like I said Archangel Michael. I said I'd like a message from my higher self, my higher selves. Um, uh, Mary Mother Mary, who is a very strong guide for me, Archangel Michael, and Isa, who is Yeshua, aka Jesus. And look at this, we got two. Jesus showed up twice. So I thought that was pretty cool in the cards. And here's Mary. So we'll get to those here in a little bit. But the very first, losing someone, well, that is what I'm going through right now. Um, Actually, more ways than one, interestingly enough. It might be the theme after all. I was going to say it's not the only theme. It's not the only thing that's going on in my life right now. If you watch any of my previous videos, my most recent was about the identity shift that happened for me. No kidding, February 18th. It happened and it laid me on my ass. I did not know what was happening. And I've unfortunately basically been traveling since then and not been able to really be at home and allow for this to process. But of course I am processing it, and it's all perfect, right? There's a reason. Maybe I needed to be away from home, if for no other reason to prove to myself that I can process on the go, that I can process anywhere that I'm at. So let's look at this one first. And if it is backwards for you, it says Kivanga's journey. Remove the mask of your everyday persona. I wish I could just kind of set it right there, but I'm going to look at it here while we're. All right. So while I made the spread before I started the video, I have not really looked at them yet, except to notice that Yeshua showed up twice and Mary when I specifically called on them for guidance. So that was kind of cool. It's not like there's a ton of cards of Jesus and Mary in this deck. These may be the only two Jesus. I'm not sure. So let's see. What does Kivanga have to tell us? First of all, she looks definitely like she's really focusing inward. Look at her eyes. She's not seeing what's in front of her in the physical. She is looking inside herself. and going deeper than ever before is the message that I'm getting, and that is definitely resonating. I like the two masks up here is a very big message for me right now. There is definitely the energy of, well, first of all, just in general, there are a lot of twin flames uh, coming together, finally. Um, Even if it is, you maybe have known your twin flame for years, but you're finally coming together in the high in a vibration that's high enough for you to be able to exist together, right? Because what as I heard the other day, not mine, but I do like to share when other people's messages resonate too. I think that's important to keep the message going. And it's not mine. I just want to make sure you knew that I didn't pull it out of. I did not intuit it myself, but it resonated. Someone said, we are not the twin flame experience. It is not half and half coming together as whole. The reason that you couldn't, that there's a separation is that you need to be one and one coming together as two. So look at that. There is one and one coming together, and they are connected. They are connected, and it feels right. It's a good energy. It's a I don't want to say permanent, but it's a solid energy that's going to stick as far as twin flames coming together. So that is happening. Kivanga is just in some very contemplative inner thinking right now. There's masks. Oh my goodness, yeah. So one of the big things that I did talk about in my last video too is this identity energy. This new identity energy is basically stripping the masks off of us. It's not encouraging us to remove a mask. It did it for us, okay? And most of us were caught unawares, to say the least. I didn't even realize I was still wearing a mask because I've shed so many. And so, I mean, these masks, it's almost like I want to say she's carrying them. Like they came off, but she's still carrying them. But this new, like this deeper inner work, she's going deeper than she's ever gone before. This deeper inner work that is going on right now that really we're being given no choice. Okay, so you can try to avoid it all you want. It's going to happen for you. And if you resist, it's just going to be harder. So I recommend surrender. And that was actually a card that I got from someone else pulled for me this morning for today was total surrender. And I had to agree that that was what I needed to do. That was the energy I needed to be in. So these masks, and they're three, which is interesting, the power of three. But it's kind of like, I mean, for me, it was a big mask, but I feel like almost like this last mask that was removed for us was as big, as deep, as profound as possibly the last three masks that we've removed. Okay, it's big stuff. It's really big stuff, and I mean, right now she's not quite sure if she's happy or sad about it because it's bringing to the surface really big decisions that need to be made. Okay, if you're feeling that, well, I'd love to know. Comment if you're feeling that, but I mean, this is definitely in my experience. So, yeah, I mean, it's this might be the biggest decision Kavanga has ever made in her life, and it really because this mask was. I'll turn it this way so you can see a little better. This mask was I think for just possibly more than me, for a lot of people was something that we didn't even realize we were still wearing. I think it just really was a surprise, on most of the levels we're aware of, right? In our awareness, it was not just a surprise. This was a shock. This was a shock to our physical bodies. It was a shock to all the energy bodies, emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual. It was a shock. Maybe less on the spiritual because that's more aware, more deeper awareness there. But seriously, this was a shock. This mask being ripped off, and the realization, the awareness that a decision that maybe we never thought we would have to make. It was one of those things. Was like, oh well, that's other people. I am in a situation. I will never have to make that decision. Surprise, surprise! You are now in that position where this big decision that you did not see coming and maybe really, really scary. So what it's doing is it's pushing. First of all, it's pushing us to release attachment. Right? It's pushing us to let go of emotional attachment to everyone and everything. Okay, I know that seems big, but if you're watching this, you have already released a lot of attachment. I know you have. I know I had. And interestingly enough, even just right before this, actually, no, it was after. So, right after this shift came through, this energy came through that that pushed me through on February 18th, before the 222 portal, the 222 portal. Even and of course the 222 portal just kind of solidified it, but kind of launched me through, even though I was already seeing it. Um, you know, but right after the 18th, and days within hours, I released a huge, huge chunk of emotional attachment to people that I love. And this does not mean, and I said this in my last video too, this does not mean that that you don't love these people anymore. Actually, it allows for a deeper love. It allows for a deeper soul connection. Okay. So I released attachment and immediately tried to attach to a new thing, because I felt like I had been, I was a puppet that had my strings cut, and I was falling. I was falling. I was flailing. I had no idea how to use my arms and legs. This is all, metaphorical, energetic. I felt like I had no idea. I had no idea who I was. I had no idea where I was, where I was going, what my life was going to look like the next day. It was a very uncertain and destabilizing feeling. And so when I had the opportunity, I created attachment immediately to something new. And so that is what's working through me now, is that awareness. I was made aware of it, and realized that I was trying to create the same patterns, right? The same loops, the same this fake foundation that I thought I had lost, that kind of fell apart under my feet. I was trying to rebuild it in the same way that it had been built, and that is not possible anymore. Okay, I tried and was made aware of it very quickly, and abruptly, harshly, which was necessary. I think was made aware of it, and knew that that was what was happening. Knew that I needed to release this new attachment before it, uh, you know, took hold, before it grew roots. And I'm doing it. I mean, obviously, I'm doing it. Okay, I'm holding Isa. I'm going to tune in. I think he's already talking to me. The power of the master. I mean, talk about this awareness really allowed me to step more into my power, more into my oneness with all, and to see that I didn't need this attachment to survive. I didn't need someone else or something else to catch me, because I have wings. which is also kind of a theme for this new energy, because I think I said that in the last video too. Call in protection. I mean, seriously, who better? First of all, 8. He's number 8 on the side infinity. That is also part of the twin flame symbol, is the infinity symbol. But I mean, call in protection. Who better? First of all, who better as a twin flame energy? Isa. Hello. He was twin flame with Mary Magdalene. And they, of course, had a kind of a rocky road as well. The power of the master. So I call on him a lot. And of course, he loves that. You can never call on your guides too much. Okay. They will tell you if there is something that they can't help you with. And a lot of times, of course, they want to help. They want to help you with everything. But a lot of times there are things that need to be done by you. And this is empowering for you. Okay. And they're doing it not because they're busy, not because not because they're practicing tough love. I'm learning to really not like that term and need to release that. Need to release the term tough love. Love is love. Okay. Tough comes from ego. Tough comes from our belief that we need to feel punished in order to move forward, and it's not really the case. They're or need to feel miserable in order to move forward, right? And I know that's happening, but the only reason we feel that misery is because we're resisting. Okay, so and believe me, I know how hard it is to release resistance. Nearly impossible in these early stages. Okay, so what was I going to say though? Yeah, so I've called on Issa a lot. He loves it. If I ask, Issa's never turned me down, but if I want to, just to clarify what I was just saying about, they sometimes say we have to do it ourselves. There came a point where I called on Archangel Michael a lot to work on my boundaries, to Michael, solidify my boundaries because I'm going out to the mall or I'm going in public or I'm going to be in a group setting where I have to socialize. I need you to. And there was from one day to the next, he said to me, "You do it. You're ready. You don't need me to do this anymore." Okay, so he empowered me to stop depending on him for this thing that I knew I could do. All right, so that's what I meant by that. All right, so for you, call in protection, whoever that is for you. It doesn't have to be Yeshua, okay? Although he is an amazing, amazing guide, especially for, hello, infinity, for twin flames. So if you are in a twin flame situation, if you haven't already, Yeshua and Mary Magdalene are amazing guides for this. If you have not realized that or called on them, they were definitely, they weren't the first. Many might say they were, they might be two of the most well known. All right. Definitely twin flames. Definitely had a rocky road, had challenges. Obviously, and then we're made to be apart. But they are together now in eternity. So it's all good. It's all good. Twin flames. I'm sorry, but this card always looks like. Tell me that doesn't look like Ewan McGregor. That is totally Ewan McGregor right there. Thank you, Ewan, for showing up to my reading. Be firm in your resolve. Commit. Okay, so, have I already done this? Hells yeah. Excuse me. Oh my goodness, I can't sit cross-legged anymore. My physical body is not liking it. So he's a Templar. Ewan's a Templar. Soul promise. Oh my God. So, right? So, soul promise. My soul made a promise for this life to do these things, to do certain things. And I am fully 1,000% committed to this promise. Even if it is, so what I'm having to release is this new attachment, right? I want this thing in my life. I know that it has to be without attachment or it won't happen. It won't happen at all. But it's hard not to still want it, right? So what I'm needing to do is, what I'm being told to do is I am releasing the attachment to needing it in my life. And that is necessary right now. That will lead me to the next level, and the next level, the next level. And so, sorry, I'll show it. Let you see it a little more here. Ewan. Ewan as a Templar. So Knights Templar, a lot of controversy around the Knights Templar. Were they good guys? Were they bad guys? Were they protecting the king and queen, or were they protecting the holy, divine, twin flame lineage? Right. That's a school of thought as well, that they were created to protect the bloodline of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. So, and that is why the Pope had them eradicated on Friday the 13th. Interestingly enough, which is the day that they, 13. I don't know about Friday the 13th specifically. I'd have to look that up. But the number 13 is a divine feminine number. It is a number that connects us to our divine feminine energy and is sacred. And they longed to take that away from us. So they hijacked it, took it away by massacring the knights on a Friday the 13th. But you know what? We're reclaiming it. We're taking it back. So what I love about this also speaks to very much divine masculine. I feel like the sword represents the divine masculine, and there's now light shining on it, like he is committed to healing the divine masculine. So again, another I keep thinking twin flame stuff, which is very prevalent right now for this reading for some reason. I'm also trying to see. There's like a wing. Okay, oddly, I have never noticed this before. Up in that little alcove above him, that looks like a wing, peeking out, an angelic wing to me. And what does this mean? What does this mean? I don't know. Maybe it means something to you. I know for me, I have visualized recently, especially often, of my etheric wings spreading. And I actually was walking today, and normally it is a bit of an uncomfortable process to spread my energetic wings. And today, while I was walking, I just did it. And I didn't have any pain. I didn't have any tightness, nothing. They just opened. And so that was pretty cool. I'm trying to see if he has any. So be firm in your resolve, commit to this path. Okay, whatever it means, because you know that the universe has your back. You know that you chose to find joy and bliss. So even if it means something that you thought you needed falls away, commit. Because what is falling away is going to be replaced by something better. Okay. And that's just the truth. That's just the absolute friggin' truth. What is this other Jesus? And actually, you know what? I think it actually might not be Jesus, but for this reading, it is. I think if I read the book, it might not be. I'm trying to remember because I have pulled this card before, but it doesn't matter. For this reading, it is absolutely Jesus a second time because I called on him for it. So, anchoring the Celtic ray. Be calm, anchor your energy. So, one thing that I have been focusing on is anchoring 5D, pulling 5D down, anchoring 5D. That is so important right now because I know that my new path lies in 5D. And so I'm in that transition. I'm in that really uncomfortable, kind of anxiety filled transition that I'm trying to surrender to, the card that I got this morning. Absolutely surrender to it. And when I do anxiety filled transition, that I'm trying to surrender to, the card that I got this morning, absolutely surrender to it. And when I do feel felt so calm in my life, that's why it was almost eerie to me, because I was so calm in the midst of what I thought was my life basically crumbling before me, or something, a big part of my life felt like it was just dying. And this is a good thing. And of course, I've seen 666 so much since then. The old is dying. This old part of me is dying. And it is a calming feeling because that old part holds a lot of anxiety. So as I let it die, it's going to take a lot of that. It's going to take that anxiety with it. And so, and I have been focusing on anchoring 5D. So if that resonates with you, anchor 5D. Just visualize 5D coming to you. We're not necessarily rising to it. It is coming to us. Okay, it is being anchored. And there are so many, all the ascended masters. He's working on it right now. All the ascended masters are helping. They're bringing it down low enough where we can see it, where we can reach it, because they're so much higher frequency than we are. But they're bringing it down. And look at his. What I love is his hands. Look at his hands. Normally, palms up, right? When you see him, in this, palms down, because he's anchoring that 5D down to us. Because as an ascended master, he's much higher than that. I'm hearing 9D. I don't know if that's accurate, but because it's not really my. I've really worked a lot with discerning which dimensions, which densities, which frequencies are which, and all that. So, but I keep hearing 9D is where he's at. He's anchoring 5D down to us. He's sending that energy down to us. He and all the ascended masters. Okay, so Mother Mary as well is anchoring that. Um, and he's just like, look at his face. He's just like, you got this. Oh, his face is just really speaking to me. He's like, what are you worried about? Why are you so afraid? This is inevitable. This path is already laid out. You got this. And we have so much help. His face is like, stop worrying. There's no reason to worry. This is happening. And so again, as I release this need for this thing to be in my life, I still have this little kind of nagging. It's kind of tugging at me and pulling at me, like, oh, but remember, you still want this, so make sure you're asking for this to be in your future. And I have to let go of that. I have to let go of needing it to be there. I have to let go of thinking that I know what my highest timeline looks like, right? I don't. We don't. All we can focus on is feeling. What I like to focus on is, okay, I want to, my goal is feeling fulfilled, knowing that I am living my purpose, that I'm speaking my truth, that I'm doing what I came here to do, and feeling that soul fulfillment. That's all I want. That is all I want for this life. And for me, that envelops everything else that I could ever possibly want or need. So even if it doesn't include this thing, that I need to release attachment to, I have to release attachment to that, right? I have to release attachment to needing this thing in my life, to thinking that it's going to help to ask for it to be part of my future when that just proves attachment. That just proves that I'm still attached to it, right? Okay. So let's move on. Talos, the portal is open. The portal is open. And this is, I want to say this is Mount Shasta. This painting is actually of Mount Shasta in the winter, showing I think, let me look, it may actually be Antarctica. I can't remember. 22, master number. 22. So let's see, Mount Shasta in Northern California. Let's see. This card, the meaning is, ask permission to enter, leave all negative fears behind, and go inside. It is time to learn more than you have gained from living in the 3D life school. Well, that is friggin' perfection. Ask permission to enter. And how we ask permission to enter is by leaving all negative fears behind and just stepping through, leaving all attachment behind and just stepping through. I wanted to see who this is. There's a portal to Talos in Panther Meadows, high up on the mountain, high up on Mount Shasta. Is a crystalline city home to the former inhabitants of the Pacific continent of Lemuria. Lots of energy in this one. So she is, that is the face of a woman who has released all attachment and she's ready to step inside. So that is us, y'all. That is me. That is you. Okay, we're doing it. You don't have to worry about, oh my God, I have to release attachment. Set the intention, give it to Michael, give it to the, Michael always says, don't give it to me. Don't give it to me, but I can a not messenger, but he can help with my intention. I'm releasing attachment to everything that is no longer serving me, and so it is. And I give it to the universe, and then let it go. Don't say it. Don't keep saying it. I fall into this too. I promise. I think I've said it 3 times, and Michael just shakes his head. He's like, "You already did this. Move on. You already did this." And so I know it's happening. But 22 master number, and also that two again, the two ones coming together to make two. The two wholes coming together to make two, which is, these masks again, right? The I forget what those are called, but that little timer, the ancient timer, is been flipped. It's been flipped over, and it is now the clock is ticking. Which I think what that means is we have flipped into 5D. We just need to realize that, right? We just need to remember that that's where we're meant to be. That's where we decided to be in this. In my video, and oh, it did. I'm gonna start it again. So I am listening to Infinity Calling. If you have not subscribed to that YouTube channel, seriously, do it. It's amazing. So this last card is definitely Mother Mary, the Black Madonna of Prague. I have heard of this. I have not seen presentations of it in real life, but I've heard of the Black Madonna. Words cannot express it. So what does that mean? Let's tune in. She's got the moon behind her. That totally makes me think of Queen Elizabeth I. If you don't know any of the legends about her, that she was a sorceress, a priestess, a magician, and she drew her magic from the moon. This is what I know from my from the sources that I have. And so, think of Queen Elizabeth. She was definitely a moon magician. Words cannot express it. She also heralded in a new age, Queen Elizabeth. Whatever you think of her, if it was black magic, whatever. This is my. This is the messages that I get. Is Black Madonna too. Black Madonna does not mean dark energy. Does not mean black energy. Queen Elizabeth did bring in a whole new age, not just into England, but all of that area over there, all of Europe and Britain. A new age was born with her. And so I feel like this is telling us that we have shifted, like we have turned over that timer of the last age, of the age of what were we in? Pisces, right? Pisces. We are now in the age of Aquarius, full up this 13,000 year cycle of the divine feminine, okay, has begun. We're in it, and we're just getting used to how it feels. We're realizing that we've already shed all of these things. That last mask was ripped off of us to do that, okay? But it was so abrupt. It was ripping the Band-Aid off, right? It was so abrupt that we're just having to get used to anchoring. We have to finish anchoring 5D, and so that we can integrate this and get used to how it feels, okay? It's not going to feel unstable like this forever. In fact, for very long at all. We were put on fast forward, like triple fast forward. When you're fast forwarding something on like Netflix or Hulu or Vudu, and you can go to like 20 times. That's what happened. We were on 20 times fast forward, 20 times normal speed, whatever that means. So yeah, I mean, we are fully in the divine feminine age. We are, those of us who draw our magic from the moon. I half resonate with that. I feel like I have been a moon magician. I'm not sure about that. That's something that is still coming into focus for me. So I sometimes really resonate with the moon and sometimes don't. So it may just be one of those things that is of the new energy that is still coming. And it could be that it's not necessary to resonate with it all the time. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And she's also kind of got that, what are you worried about face. You got this. This is sewn up. This is done. This is certain. Okay, so fear is an illusion and fear is no longer necessary. Okay, so release what, just set an intention to release whatever is left that is creating resistance for you, that is keeping these walls and blocks visible to you. When they're gone, they're gone. They were an illusion anyway. They're gone. They went with the mask that was just ripped off. All right. For me, it was literally my identity for the last 30 years, that is now gone. I don't feel it anymore. And again, that does not mean that you need to pack a bag and abandon your family and go, walking around. Um, it does not mean that at all. It doesn't mean that, that you just have to give up on everything that you've ever loved or had or whatever. It is a huge shift. And for some people, this will mean that letting go of everything of their old life, but not for everybody. We've worked up pretty hard in creating some of the things we have, but for a lot of people, it's been all what they've created has been all inward, inner work, inner growth, soul growth, and so now it's time for them to really explore that. It's a huge, huge shift, you guys. I've never felt like this. I've had masks ripped off before, a little slower, never this fast, and never ever felt this big of a shift. And it's been really, really, disconcerting. It's been really dizzying, right? I've never felt so unstable on my feet. So, and then just a ton of stuff happening in addition. Like, my grandmother decided to check out, and with this shift, and which honestly to me was really appropriate too. Like I knew she wasn't coming along to 5D. It doesn't mean she's not going to choose to be born again right into 5D. I don't know. It's up to her. I really can't even tune into whether or not she chose to stay in 3D for another cycle or not. So it doesn't, that's her journey. But she chose to go right after this shift. Yesterday, actually, is when she went. And interestingly, I mean, I sometimes it doesn't, mean anything that you need to dwell on. But we were going to see her. She was hanging on. I haven't seen her since June, and we were an hour and a half from her, and she passed. An hour and a half. I missed her transition by an hour and a half. There's a reason, but I don't need to know it. There's her reason. She did. We do believe that she did choose yesterday for a very big reason. 20, almost 30 20 plus, 25 plus grandchildren. And she only lost one. Only one transitioned before her, and he transitioned on, yes, yesterday on the date that it was yesterday. Years ago. I was a teenager, so years ago. But it was his, or I'm sorry, he didn't transition. He was born. It was his birthday yesterday. So it was the day he was born. And he transitioned less than 2 years later. 30 plus years ago. So she chose that day to just let us know that that was her time and she was going to be with Nicholas. So it was kind of cool. It felt really fitting. It felt really good. I mean, do I wish she would have hung on another hour and a half? In a way, because I did want to say some things, but you know what? Now I can tell her anything, anytime, because now she's incredibly available in the energy, right? And of course, they say that there's transition time for us here in linear time. She's no longer in linear time, but for us here in linear time, there is time for her to make this journey. So she's not available yet, but when she is, she'll be available 24/7. And my her husband, my grandfather, transitioned almost 20 years ago. 20 years in September it will be, and he has been a guide for me, a very strong guide for me. He attached himself to me after he passed, and I was able to help him transition just a few years ago. He was with me a long time, and I helped him transition a few years ago. And he went and he came back to me, healthy and vibrant and young, and celebrating, saying that he had gone to spirit guide school. He went to spirit guide training for me to come back and be a spirit guide for me. So that was pretty cool. So, I'm really connected with him. And so her passing, um, I guess I felt like maybe I was meant to be there for it. And then when it didn't happen, that was okay. So anyway, I'm babbling about my grandma. Um, so this is what I'm getting. For me personally, I feel like somebody needs to hear it. If you get anything out of it, great. I'd love to hear if any of this resonated with you. Obviously, this ripping off of the final mask was a collective thing. For many of you, it didn't need to happen. You'd already done it. But for those of us who were really in resistance of it, really, it was a deep, deep, deep seated mask. It was buried very deeply for me because I've been wearing it for 30 years, 31, almost 31 years. So yeah, big change, huge change. And again, I'm seeing 555 and 666 all over the place, and the infinity symbol all over the place, which is total twin flame stuff. 666 just means the death of the old. Let it happen. Let it die. And, very literally, my grandmother died. She was very old, which is kind of funny. She had a sense of humor. I'm sure she would think that was funny. My grandfather thinks it's funny. He had a very good sense of humor, very hearty sense of humor. And then the 555 just means big change coming. So they go very well together. So if you've been seeing those numbers too, seriously. My voice is going, so I'm going to sign off. I hope this resonated with someone. Hope this helps someone. I love pulling cards. I love playing with cards. And again, this deck is just gorgeous. Go buy it. Go buy it. Seriously, she does all the artwork herself and the messages and the intuitive messages. So it's just beautiful. This is her second deck. She's got another one. So look for both of them. Gorgeous. Isa, Yeshua, twice. Mother Mary, after I specifically called on both of them. I mean, there are no coincidences, only synchronicities. All right. I love you all. Thank you for watching. Again, I hope it helps. I hope it gives you hope. I hope it gives you hope. I hope it gives you a vector, maybe. I hope it gives you uh, you know, a knowing that this is happening. This is moving forward. This is happening for us, not to us. All right. So, and nothing to be afraid of. How many of them? They all have the faces. Well, she's got the inner work face, like she's really going deep, but there's no fear there, no fear at all in her face. And the rest of them are totally saying, "Let go of all the fear. There's no reason for it anymore. There's no reason for it. We got you." So I just heard in my head, Isa tell me, "We got you. We got you. There's no more reason to be afraid. Let it go. Let it go." And I know that's easy to say. Set the intention. Call in your guide, whoever that might be. Call on protection. Call in protection, which really just means call in a guide. Call in a guide that makes you, that resonates with you, that makes you feel good in whatever you're releasing. So call in your guide, set the intention, ask your guide for help to set the intention to release the last of the fear around your path, around your future, around the future of this planet, because the good stuff's here. It's already here. And they got us. I promise. They've got us. It's a done deal. No going back now. So enjoy. I love you. Bye bye.